Chapter 96. The Trail. Jackson. I thank the warriors individually for stepping up to this task. I wanted to make sure to talk to the previous warriors separately from the group and ask them what they think could be improved and what they would like to see changed so I could relay that information to Bryce. They all seemed excited about the future and to respect our new rank within the pack. I wanted to see for myself that they would be on our side and didn't have any lingering loyalties to their previous alpha. Alpha? Bryce comes up as I was walking away from the group. Some of the warriors that died in the clearing had mates. I wasn't even thinking about that with all the other things going on. How many? Only 6. Still, 6 were a lot of mates to be left behind. Children? He nods. I think a few of them. I sigh. They shouldn't have been taken away from their families, their mates, just because of Benjamin. One more thing I had to clean up because of him. Get me their names. I'll go see them with Isla this afternoon. Yes, Alpha. While I was talking to the warriors individually, Cam took 2 young warriors to help Isla take care of a situation. I knew she could handle herself, but I let them go ahead of me. I would slow them down anyway with this damn wound. When I reached the back of the pack house, I stopped to watch Isla through one of the kitchen windows. She had the attention of everyone in the room as they raised a glass, and I saw Isla smile widely. Goddess, I loved her. I snuck in the back, or tried to. It wasn't easy towering over everyone in the room. All eyes turned to me. Crap, I didn't want to interrupt Isla's moment. For those of you that haven't met him, Alpha Jackson, my mate. Alpha Jackson. They all raised a glass. I made my way through the crowd to Isla. We have a few things we need to attend to before tonight, when you have a free moment, I whispered to her as she hands me a teacup of champagne. What were they doing in here? I laugh, looking down at it. She takes a moment to introduce me to the new head Omega, Rosalind. I liked her from the moment I met her. She reminded me a bit of our new lead Omega, Dawn, and I could tell she would do a lot of good here. I can slip away now, Isla says after the introduction was over, and I take her hand in mine. Thank you all for such a warm welcome. I turn to the group. I look forward to getting to know each and every one of you, and hope you can attend tonight's barbecue. I have to steal my Luna away for a moment, but please, if you see my Beta or Gamma around, put them to work. Everyone laughs. I raise my glass. To you all. I explained to Isla the situation with the warriors' families as we walked to the front of the pack house. Besides financial compensation, I wasn't sure what else we could do but provide an explanation and support. I'll work on having a special memorial built for them, Isla says immediately. That's a great idea. We could have a service sometime later this week if their mates are okay with it. She nods. Bryce got me a list of who the fallen warriors' mates were and where they lived. Thankfully, they lived a few minutes away from the pack house, and I didn't slow down Isla too much. We got to the first door, and I was a little nervous. I felt guilty for some reason, and I knew nothing I could say or do would take away the pain of losing their mate. I couldn't even imagine if I couldn't finish that thought. She takes my hand and looks up at me and nods, seeming to sense my apprehension. I knocked sharply on the door, maybe a bit too hard. The sound of someone shuffling around behind the door until it's opened by a pretty woman with long dark hair partially covering her face that looks like it hasn't been brushed in days. She looked to be in her late 20s or early 30s, and when she opened the door further, I saw a young boy, a toddler, clinging to her in her arms. Her eyes go wide when she sees me, and it looks like she's afraid. She freezes, and her eyes dart around between us as she clutches the boy closer. Hi. Isla takes a step forward, and she takes one back into her house at the same time. My name is Isla. I'm the Luna of the Moonstone Pack. She looks at her feet, holding her baby tight. Do you mind if we come in? The woman looks up and meets Isla's gaze before shaking her head and stepping in behind the door. The place was a mess. Kids' toys were everywhere. Food was out on the counters. It looked like she was barely keeping herself together. You can sit here. She grabs a pile of things from the couch and throws them on a chair. Do you want some tea or, No, we're fine, thanks. Isla sits down and I stay standing. I'm sorry, I can't sit at the moment. I turn to look at the shocked woman, hoping to calm her a bit. She had the face of someone who thought they were in trouble. I don't want to be rude, but I have stitches from a silver blade. She looks curiously up at me and nods. We don't want to take much of your time. Isla pauses and takes a steadying breath. We wanted to pass on our sadness and regrets for the passing of your mate Brayden. She looks up at Isla, confused. A flash of anger crosses her face. But your warriors are the one that killed him. Isla looks up to me. Yes, I say. My fight was with the previous Alpha Benjamin, and him only. He had his warriors come and attack us when he saw that the challenge wasn't going in his favor. She doesn't say anything. We are truly sorry. We know that your mate was innocent, but he died protecting his pack, thinking that he was doing the right thing for his Alpha. He died with honor. Silent tears start to stream down her face when I finish. I know that nothing we can say will bring him back or ease the pain, Isla says softly. But we wanted to create a memorial and have a service if it was okay with you. Her tears turn to sobs, and Isla stands up to put her arms around the woman and her son. I wait for a few minutes until she calms herself. Of course, you and your son will be taken care of financially. Anything that you need, don't hesitate to ask. Thank you, Alpha, she manages to get out. I wish it didn't have to be like this, and he isn't going to come back. She starts crying again. What did he die for? She sobs. It was so stupid. Stupid. We wish it didn't have to come to that either. It shouldn't have. He was an honorable man, and he laid down his life to protect his pack, his family. Do you mind? Isla reaches out for her son, who opens his arms to her. Why don't you let us help you for a moment, and you take a few minutes to yourself? She nods and heads to her room, shutting the door behind her. Do you think you could lie on the floor and play with this guy? I'm going to help her clean a bit. I lean back, finding a slightly comfortable position on the floor, and start handing the kid a few dinosaur toys within my reach. He makes little roar sounds and has them fight each other. He was actually such a sweet kid. The woman comes out after a while, looking fresh and showered. I'm still awkwardly laying back on the floor, rolling a ball for her son to chase after. Isla has deep cleaned the kitchen and cleaned her front room in no time. Wow, Luna, you didn't have to do any of this, she says, looking around. I can't read her face. I feel bad. No, please, I'm happy to help. I can come back tomorrow and watch him so you have some time to do what you need. She smiles at Isla. Yes, I actually would really need that, she says honestly. After looking around her place, if you can make it to the barbecue tonight, we would love to see you there, I add. I know you probably don't want to see anyone at the moment, but it might be nice. She nods, and her son comes up to her and tugs at her skirt. She picks him up and kisses him on his forehead. I think I'll come so that he can have some fun and see some of the other kids. She smiles at him genuinely. She thanks us a few more times, and Isla promises to stop by tomorrow afternoon. The rest of the visits went similar. Isla helped out and had planned to go back to visit the other two kids the next day. Everyone accepted our condolences and appreciated the idea of having a memorial. Once we explained our situation and furthermore explained that we held no anger against them or their mates, they seemed to relax. Once they got past their anger, They seemed to understand that their mates died honorably, defending their alpha to the last moment. Their anger shifted to Benjamin when they realized that if he would have accepted the challenge as a man, there would be no need for any other deaths. That reminded me that we needed an update on him. No one has heard anything from the elders since the challenge. I'm sure they caught him and were dealing with transporting him back, unless he was found dead. Either way, I needed to know. Meeting with the warriors' families took up most of the afternoon, and I had to sneak off to meet Benjamin's beta. He tried to help, but he genuinely seemed to not have been given much responsibility at all. It makes sense why there were so many corners cut. Having all the responsibilities of a pack could be overwhelming at times for me. And I had Lucas and Cam around helping me daily, and now Isla. I don't understand why or how Benjamin thought that he could do everything for the pack by himself. I couldn't even think of an idea for his reasoning behind it. It just made more work for him and ensured that the pack would never run properly. His beta seemed very willing to help and just plain exhausted. I think he was happy with the change and looking forward to retiring. I thanked him and told him we might have more questions. If what the beta was saying was all true, he was mostly there just for show and didn't seem to have any love lost over Benjamin. Jackson, Lucas comes into my mind. Yeah? You might want to see this. Where are you? Benjamin's office. Is it urgent? You can finish up what you're doing. I'll be there when I'm done with the beta. Thank you for your cooperation. It is much appreciated. Rest assured that you may relocate as soon as you wish to the empty cabin you chose for yourself. He stands up and smiles genuinely, shaking my hand. Thank you, Alpha. I can't wait to see what you'll do here. If I can be of any service, you know where to find me. I nodded, leaving his office. As soon as the door closes behind me, I went to the elevator as fast as I could to see what Lucas found. I walk into the office, and it was even more chaotic than it was this morning. The stacks of papers seem to multiply, and Lucas has the massive desk pushed forward. Redecorating? I ask him with a raised eyebrow. Something like that, he chuckles. But seriously, look at this, bro. I walk over behind the desk, and he has a door in the floor opened. Inside was a dark steel safe. It looked more secure than the one left open, with a keypad and a fingerprint scanner. I strained to see it closer, trying to avoid agitating my wound. Why would this be hidden? I ask out loud. His other safe wasn't. Lucas shrugs. This one seems like it hasn't been touched in ages, though. I had to pry the door open and it was dusty on the other side of the door. I looked it over, and sure enough, besides Lucas's fingerprints, there was a layer of dust. Benjamin hasn't been in here in ages, I would say. He kneels down next to me. If ever, I say, running my fingers across the safe. I felt a slight indentation and lean in as much as I can to look at it. I dust off around where my fingers caught and see the words, Familia ante sanguinem. What is that? Some Harry Potter spell? Lucas asks. Yes, I think they protected this safe with a spell. I look back at Lucas. His eyes are wide. Really? He asks. Yes, from a children's book. He hits my shoulder. It's not a children's book, he mutters. Just Google it. Lucas stands up and grabs his phone from his pocket. It's Latin, apparently. He scrolls down. It means family before blood. I don't get it, I say. Me either. Family before blood? He repeats. Family is usually blood. It doesn't always have to be, I guess. I sigh. Another mystery. Thank you for showing me this. I stand up with Lucas's help. We have someone coming, hopefully tomorrow, that can break into the computers. Maybe he can or knows someone that can help us with this code. I look back down at the dusty safe. I felt like this was something. There was something in there we needed to see. Isla wants our help with setting out the tables. Lucas announced after his cloudy eyes turned back to their dark green. I look at him confused, wondering why she didn't link me first. Come on, man, don't be offended. Even though she's your mate, you know I'm the beauty of the group. He winks at me, and I punch him in the arms. He winces and holds his shoulder. And I guess I'm the strength? I question him, brushing past him, smiling. The backyard looks fantastic already. There are 3 bars set up, strings of lights, chairs, and small cocktail tables, a long table for the food, and some candles laid out on the tables. They did a lot with this last-minute party, and I knew Isla probably had a lot to do with it. I was so proud of her taking on this role as their Luna. I knew she would be loved, especially by the Omegas, but everyone else has had nothing but respect and admiration for her. Cam and some of his warriors were bringing out tables. I started to follow Lucas, heading towards the back door to see what I could help with. My phone starts ringing in my pocket. Jackson Black, I answered without looking at who was calling. Alpha, we traced the previous Alpha Benjamin. Go on, I say, too anxious to let them finish at their own pace. His trail was all over the place. It seemed he knew how to mask his scent, and even our people got confused. Why was he dragging this out for so long? We finally got a distinctive trail. 2 days later, I asked coldly. I knew I was speaking to an elder, but I was too upset by their inability to get this taken care of once and for all. Cam told me he wanted to go after him immediately, and if I was coherent, I would have told him to. If they fucked it up, elders or not, they were to blame. Yes, they have been deciphering it for the past few days. Was there magic or something? What was the reason for them taking so long? I'm angry now. We're not sure, but as I said, we did find a trail. So you called to tell me that you found a trail? I ask. I know I'm being insubordinate, but my anger is the only thing I can feel at this moment. They fucked up, massively. We're letting you know that the trail leads back to Silver Moon. I take the phone away from my ear. Chatter fills the air around me as the tables are being set. Omegas are bringing out chairs. Lucas and Cam are joking with each other. I felt like I was on another planet than they were. How? I mean, where could he? I needed to protect Isla. I needed to protect all of them. Her sealing it. I have no idea. Find out, please. He stays on the line and I hear him talking to her, muffled voices. I couldn't make anything out. She says that if it wasn't sealed when he visited, then others would have access eventually. There is a powerful spell that would need to diminish. So she didn't actually say anything really, just maybe one day we get access to this hidden village? If he's in there and she didn't seal it, the magic doesn't stay up forever apparently. How do we get in? How long do we wait? I ask. Why don't you try what Alpha Benjamin did? Blood. It was worth a shot. We were nearing the village now. Thank you, William. Call if you need anything. I hang up the line and paused for a second. I let my warriors fall behind me, and I waited for them to catch up so we could walk towards the village together. The warriors there had a fire started, and they were laughing and joking together. I was already so proud of the new warriors and how they were fitting seamlessly into the mix. Hand out the food and water. I want to try something real quick. I walk up to the door and survey it. If it needed blood, where would the blood need to be placed? I couldn't find any compartment or even anything that stood out, so I just went for it. Pricking my finger with a knife, I waited until a drop of blood fell and then pushed my finger against the door. Nothing. After a moment, I heard a creak. It could have just been the wind blowing through the door. It was so faint. I tried my luck and pushed on it to see. It couldn't do any harm. The door opened with a little effort. Holy fuck, I did it. Without Valeria to seal the door, this place had been susceptible to anyone that knew blood was the answer. I quickly ran back to the warriors and explained everything. We put together a plan and had some of them shift, while the rest of us walked up in human form, prepared for a fight. We opened the door and immediately were on the offensive, checking every house, warriors hiding outside the front gates, the only gates in case he escaped. Nothing over here, Gamma. We found a hut. It's empty. Nothing here. So I found a pit of bones. A newer warrior enters my head. No one's alive here. I walked through the village after there seemed to be confirmation that no one was here. Where could he have gone? Or was he hiding somewhere out of reach? Somewhere with dark magic? I opened the door to another abandoned house to triple check. Only this one wasn't abandoned. There was a soft glow and a quiet, ominous moan. I need backup. The third house on the left. Coming. Outside now. I wait until I know there are warriors outside before I take a few more steps in. A young man that looks like he's aged past his prime. How could this be possible? The features of an elderly man and a young one mixed into one person. He was quietly moaning. The sound never stopped, lamenting his pain. Two people suspended in liquid floated in and out of view. They seemed dead, but I couldn't walk up closer. I have never dealt with anything like this, and I wasn't scared to admit it freaked me out. Alpha, you need to see this. Now. Chapter 98. Barbecue. Jackson. The barbecue was successful. It seemed that most of the pack members turned up, and it wasn't as tense as I thought it would be. Everyone seemed to relax after they got here and realized it really was just a party. No pretenses. Isla was playing the perfect Luna. Well, she was the perfect Luna. When I told her that they had tracked Benjamin back here, she was understandably anxious. She kept close to me as I asked her to do, but put on a smile and mingled with everyone, without a moment of worry crossing her face. She was talking everyone through their concerns about merging the packs and the changes that would happen. By the time someone was done talking to her, they left smiling. I didn't know what I would have done without her here. I can't remember how I would have handled these situations before she showed up, but I knew I probably handled them poorly compared to her. I tried to focus on my surroundings and who I was talking to, but I had to admit, I was distracted. I kept scanning the forest for any sign of movement. I knew that we had warriors at the barbecue seamlessly fitting in, but on full alert, and more were watching us from the woods. But I hated the fact that Benjamin could be on these lands, so close to my pack members, my Isla. I didn't hear anything from Cam, and usually that was a good thing, that he was busy and actively working. He would alert me when something went wrong. I tried to relax knowing that. Once everyone had their fill of food and drink, I decided to address everyone. I let Isla finish her conversation before stealing her away to the edge of the crowd. I clear my throat loudly, and within a few minutes silence washes over the crowd, all eyes on us. I won't take up too much of your time. I know my beta, Lucas, has already explained what has happened and what we think combining our packs will look like in the future. I just wanted to say thank you all for coming out and celebrating the start of a new chapter for both Silver Moon and Moonstone. I know this has been confusing, and you still have a lot of questions. I want you all to know that me, my Luna, Beta, and Gamma are here to address any questions or concerns that you might have. Thank you for such a warm welcome. We are honored to be standing here as your Alpha and Luna. And I know I speak for us all when I say we can't wait to get to know each and every one of you. I I pause. The crowd claps and cheers. Isla takes my hand in hers and squeezes it. Anything you want to add, my love? As you might know, I am from Silvermoon. Up until recently, when I found my mate, I was an Omega here. Some people in the crowd start talking. I guess they didn't know that. Isla said that besides the other Omegas, she didn't have too many interactions with other pack members, so most of them probably wouldn't have recognized her. I am looking forward to the future and making some changes that are, well, they are long overdue. Some of the crowd laughs and she smiles at them. Silvermoon is my home, and I am ecstatic to be able to call it my home once more. Everyone cheers loudly. I would have to get used to everyone liking my Luna more than me. It was definitely something I could live with. Alpha, you need to see this. Now! Cam's voice echoes in my head. Where are you? Omega Village. I'm sending someone to meet you and Lucas. Isla, I have to go meet Cam. Could you stay near Bryce? She looks up at my face, worried. Is everything okay? I honestly have no idea. I link Lucas to come meet me, and then Bryce to stay close to Isla. I give her a quick kiss. Try to have fun. I'll be back as soon as I can. She nods, looking a bit apprehensive, but plasters on a smile before she turns back to the crowd. We meet Cam's warriors, and as soon as we're in the cover of the trees, we break into a run. Hidden behind thick trees was an overgrown village with large walls. The front door was propped open with a boulder. I pause outside the gate with an immediate sense of unease. There you are, Cam says. You have to see this. What is it? He shakes his head. I have no idea. We enter one of the abandoned cottages, and I see an old man strapped to a table softly moaning. What the fuck was this? Valeria's hideout. I have no idea what this is all for. How did you get in here? I had your dad talk to Valeria. Apparently only she and Benjamin had access, but she had to seal it whenever they left. Benjamin came here and she couldn't seal it behind him. Apparently it was some magic seal. He shrugged. So it just opened? It opens with blood, he said. I raised an eyebrow. Anyone's blood now works, but we propped the door open just in case. The man groans loudly. I jumped, forgetting where we were for a second. Who is he? Can we help him? One of Silvermoon's warriors thinks it might be one of them. A warrior went missing recently. I look back to the man. Recently? This man looks like he's been gone for decades, unless they had older warriors. If it's the same person, he went missing a week or so ago, and he was in his 20s. I looked, really looked at the man on the table, his features flickering between young and old. Can we take him off? We need to help him. Lucas comes and says over my shoulders. We're waiting for William to call us back again. I have no idea what this is or what it does. I don't want to interrupt dark magic. Cam leads me to Valeria's place and her workspace after. We're careful not to touch anything. She had a lot of ingredients in jars, but nothing that looked to be anything important to us. There were a few bottles smashed on the floor that we stepped around before leaving. We're going to have to find someone to come look at this. Make sure that nothing is dangerous here. A light witch, probably, I say as we headed to her cottage. Her cottage door was open. There was dried blood on the bed in some spots on the floor. The cabinets were mostly emptied. I wonder how long Benjamin was here for. Did he come for a few hours or stay the night? There was no trail that could be found leaving the Omega Village. Cam and his warriors had already checked. Even the trackers couldn't find a trace of the scent, leaving me to wonder if he found something useful to help him make his escape. This place is creepy, Lucas says. You haven't even seen the worst part. Cameron motions for us to follow him. There's more? How could there possibly be more? Lucas mutters. A group of warriors are laying bones out on a blanket. I stop in place. Gamma, we've recovered almost 30 bodies. The warrior came up to us. So far. Thank you. So we also found a pit of bones. It wasn't even really hidden. It just seemed like a dumping ground. We can't determine when they were put there. But I know a guy who might be able to help, Cam explains. Almost 30 people? But why? I'm trying to piece it together. Why were 30 people hidden out here? No proper burials. This had to be Valeria's doing. None of this makes sense, Lucas says, shaking his head. Cam's phone rings, and he takes a few steps away from the pit. What did you find out, William? He puts the phone on speaker. She said that if the man was unhooked, bad things would happen. Vague, Lucas grunts. Did you ask her about the bodies, bones? She said that they weren't needed anymore. I roll my eyes and grab the phone from Cam. Let me speak to her, I say. Have her tied up, hands and legs, cut something off her. Like what? My dad asks. Cut the pinky toe off that we cut off before, Cam cuts in. I don't remember there being a we with that one, Lucas says. Okay, I'll head back down. I hear him talking to a few warriors in the background. Give us a few moments. We look at each other. Fucked up, man, Lucas whispers to no one in particular. There's a faint clink of the cell and some rustling followed by an ear-piercing scream that lasts for a full minute. Reliving your glory days as the Alpha? Lucas jokes when my dad comes back to the phone. You boys keep me young, he chuckles. Your mom is going to be mad though. She just bought me this shirt. I'm sure she knows how to get blood out of clothes now, I said. Let us talk to her. You fucking assholes and your asshole friends, I will watch you die, she spits into the phone. Now, let's play nicely, Cam says. You had them take my fucking toe, she wails. Again! Well, you weren't cooperating, so you lost your toe privileges. Lucas gives Cam a look. We need to know about these bodies, if there were any potions left here, and what to do with the man strapped to the table, I say. So many demands, and you're not even here. Take off her other pinky toe, Cam instructs. No, I'll cooperate, she begs. Hold her down, my dad says. Another ear-piercing scream. Get the fuck off me, she yells. Get off me! I said I would talk, she sobs. Start talking, I said. Fine, her voice breaks. The bones are people that we used for a spell. We needed their lifelines. Who were they? Cam asks. I don't know. I didn't ask, really. In the beginning, we had a group of Omegas that we pulled from. She pauses. The good old days. You're a sick fuck. You know that, right? Lucas says into the phone. Thank you, dog. What potions were here? Cam gets the conversation back on track. Nothing major, just simple spells. A topical healing cream, I think, something to cover my scent when I left, and maybe one that was just smoke, like you throw it in, poof, smoke. She rambles, tripping over her words. I want my toes back now. The man, the warrior strapped to the table. When we unhook him, what will happen? Cam continues. You really don't want to do that. Will it kill him? Quite possibly, yes. What is the purpose? Cam asks the question we were all wondering. It's a spell, my most powerful one ever created. What does it do, though? I cut in, annoyed. She sighs. It inhibits the memories of some people. Be more specific. Cam's voice is ice cold. No one can remember who the people in the tanks are. That sounds pointless, Lucas mutters. Who are the people in the tanks? I ask. I'm not sure. There's a clamoring. Get off me! I tell you, fuck! Who are the people that no one can remember? My dad asks. The previous Alpha and Luna of Silver Moon. Chapter 99. Remembering. Jackson. Cam, Lucas, and I stare at each other. Well, shit, my dad says after a moment of silence. Is there anything else you boys needed? Has Elder John arrived back with you? I ask after composing myself. He arrived last night. He needs to be in on this then. I'm assuming he will know how to report this. This is beyond us now. I think it goes without saying that Valeria can't be released, even in their care. She screams in the background. I guess we're still on a speaker. I continue ignoring the interruption. She's an accomplice to the murder of multiple pack members and possibly the previous Alpha and Luna. I'll want you to talk to her again tomorrow about what she knows that Benjamin did, how he took over the pack, if she does know. But we have enough to deal with right now. I sigh, not even knowing where to begin with all this. Thanks, Dad. Anytime, son. I'll inform Elder John immediately. He hangs up. Cam, will you inform the trackers what we found out? I'll call the elder back that I spoke with earlier. I say we take the warrior off the table, unstrap him. Cam immediately walks away, and I leave a message for the elder. I'm sure Elder John would notify everyone this evening. Even though this happened years ago, it was too big to ignore for another minute. Cam comes back after a few minutes. All right, that done, they will inform the elders that they were in contact with too. Now, about that warrior. I don't think we should all do it at the same time. In case something happens, we can't lose the Alpha, Beta, and Gamma, Lucas says, making a point. Let me grab 2 of my men. I'll do it, Cam says. Lucas and I look between each other. What do you think is going to happen when we break the spell? He asks. That sounds like some Disney shit, I laugh. But I have no idea. People will remember who their true Alpha is? I wonder how long it will take. Lucas kicks some dirt around. I have no idea. I don't think even Valeria does. This spell obviously wasn't supposed to ever end. Cam comes rushing back, followed by 2 warriors. If you don't mind, Alpha, my men and I will unhook the warrior. The doctor has already been notified and is ready for us. Cam, are you sure? This could be dangerous. I'm sure. You're my Alpha and you have a mate. I'm sure everything will be fine, but I would rather take the risk. Thank you. Lucas and I wait outside a few steps away from the hut, collectively holding our breaths, not even bothering to make small talk. I don't know what I was waiting for. Something horribly wrong to happen? Maybe an explosion or something. After a long 5 minutes, Cam comes out, supporting the warrior from the table. He can barely open his eyes, let alone walk. Take him to the clinic immediately. The doctor is ready for him. Try not to be seen until we can explain this to everyone, Cam instructs. Now what? Lucas says. We wait. I'm not sure what to do with the previous Alpha and Luna. They should be buried, but I don't want to touch anything in the tank. I got a close look. They seemed pretty well preserved, but there's no way they are alive. There were large wounds on both of them. My guess is that they were preserved almost immediately after they died, Cam says. Let's head back to the pack house. We've all been gone for too long, I say. This was a lot more than I was prepared to deal with on my first day at Silver Moon. If it's okay with you, Alpha, I was going to wrap up here. I want to reassign shifts so that this place isn't left unguarded. That's perfect. Thanks, Cam. I turn back. Please try to get some rest yourself. He nods and turns back to go talk to the others. I wonder if anyone has remembered anything, Lucas says as we take our time walking back towards the pack house. Would it just hit them all at once, or would it be a more gradual thing? I shake my head. I guess we're going to find out. The barbecue is winding down. Some of the Omegas have already started to clean, and there are just a few stragglers left finishing their drinks. Isla comes out of the kitchen carrying a trash bag, Bryce following right behind her. "Hi, Jackson." She smiles and rushes up to me, placing her hands around my waist, pulling back to look at my face. "Is everything okay?" I take a deep breath of her cinnamon and vanilla scent, letting it calm me, temporarily erasing the stress and confusion of what I just saw. "I think everything will be okay. I'll explain it all to you when we're alone." She nods. "I'm going to help them clean up, and then I'll be up." Her eyes shift to the ground. "We don't have to sleep in Alpha Benjamin's room, right?" she asks me. "Of course not. There are a few spare guest rooms on his floor. Lucas and Cam are staying with us up there too." She nods, satisfied. "Have your men checked the pack house?" I link Bryce. "As soon as Cam told me that there wasn't any trace of him in the village, I had them check every room twice." I nod. It would have been stupid for him to stay around, but he wasn't always known for making rash decisions. "Have you had a chance to check the rest of the grounds?" He shakes his head. "We only check the inside of the pack house and near the vicinity, as well as running our regular patrols." "I doubt he's still here. We just can't be too sure." "Don't worry, we'll be patrolling all night on shifts. We can have someone assigned to your floor as well." "That won't be necessary. Lucas and Cam will be there. Thank you." Bryce nods. "All right, Luna, let me carry that bag for you and we can get finished down here." I mouth thank you to him as I head up to one of the guest rooms to grab a shower. I thought about calling my dad, but we already had annoyed him enough tonight. I checked my watch, seeing it was a little past midnight. I would let him get his sleep. I needed to try to sleep as well. Tomorrow we had people coming in to try to open the lock and to hack into Benjamin's computer. We needed access to the pack funds, if he hadn't managed to run everything into the ground. This place was in far worse condition than I could even imagine. It was going to take a lot longer to get it back to a functioning pack, but I was up for the challenge. I had to be. I linked Lucas and Cam to let them know that their rooms were ready and where they were staying. Something told me that Cam wasn't going to be staying here tonight. After my shower, Isla linked me that she was done, and I went to meet her to walk her up. "What are we going to do with all of their stuff?" she asks. One more thing I hadn't thought about. "I have no idea. Donate it? Or maybe we can give the nice stuff to the Omega since they will need to fill their new closets." She smiles at me. I love that idea. I fight to stay awake as she showers until she joins me in bed. I didn't realize how tired I was until I was laying down. She curls up next to me, and I fall asleep within minutes, having her warm body in my arms, breathing in her scent. Isla. I sit up with a start. The sky was gray outside the window, but it was just black. Of course it was just black. That's how sunrises work. My parents were both sick, a sickness that didn't go away in a few days or hours like it usually did. We took a walk outside to sit by the lake, our favorite spot. My dad's arms encircled both my mom and I as he pointed out the constellations that I already knew. But it was light out the window. There was no way I could see the stars. Confused, I grabbed my head and shake it. This was a dream, right? The smell of the earth, the soft lapping of the lake on the shore, the cool breeze on my face. I was warm with my parents. The changing seasons couldn't get to me. I let myself fall back into this wonderful dream. I was happy, content, and loved. The sound of someone walking up to us, muted by the damp leaves of the morning storm. My parents don't look back. They don't look concerned, but I feel the hair on my arms rise as the footsteps stop. Something felt off. These weren't just normal patrols. "Alpha." A man came out that seemed familiar. He grinned widely at my parents. My dad looks behind him and then helps me and my mother stand. "Is everything okay?" he asks warily. I can't read his voice. It will be. The scary man takes a step forward. My dad stands in front of me and my mom, protecting me and his mate. Something is wrong. What is this? What's wrong? My dad looked around as 10 men stepped from the forest behind him. No use linking your beta or gamma. They're already gone. He laughs. Gone? What did that mean? We just saw them at dinner. They wouldn't have left at night. I tugged at my dad's shirt. Daddy, I'm scared. It's okay, honey, he says to me, not taking his eyes off the man in front of him. My mom puts her arms around me and wraps me tight. A coldness washes over me, my body clammy with fear. The first thick drops of rain make their way down. No use dragging this out then, the scary man says. Now, he yells. Everything happens at once. 10 men shift into wolves. My dad yells at us to run before he shifts in midair, meeting them. I couldn't move. I couldn't tear my eyes away. Someone had to come help us. Why wasn't anyone coming to help us? My mom grabs me into her arms and pushes my head against her chest, running. The sound of her unsteady breathing, not able to cover up the howls of pain that I knew had to be coming from my dad. The sound of clamping teeth. One last sad wail, and everything was silent. My mom fell to her feet, clutching at her heart. Yells of men changed back to human form, asking where my mom and I were. We didn't make it that far. Mom, where is Dad? I ask her, tears silently stream down my face, her features distorted in pain. Mommy, it will be okay. He will come for us. Oh, Isla. She kisses my cheek with such ferocity it almost hurts. She takes off something around her neck and fastens it around mine. Her necklace. I always loved playing with it in her arms. Sounds of soft footsteps come. She kisses me again. Go. Run and hide. Do not come back here. You need to find another pack. Head towards the mountains. You'll find help there. Don't tell them your name or who you are. But Mommy, I want to come with you, I begged her. I can't leave. I've never been alone before. There were bad things out there in the night. Mommy and Daddy told me not to stray in the forest when the sun went away, and I was afraid to do it now. Please, my love, stay safe. Your dad and I love you so much. She releases my hand and turns away. I felt more alone than I ever had before. I didn't want to go too far. I needed Mommy and Daddy to be able to find me. The rain picks up, soaking my clothes. Mom? Dad? I call out softly, the rain drowning my voice. It was cold and windy. My insides hurt and I didn't know why. I was scared and confused and I didn't know what to do. Which way were the mountains? I just wanted to be back in my bed. My daddy built me a new one this week, and Mommy painted little pink flowers on it. I wanted them to come read me a story and tuck me in so I could be warm. I tried to stand, but I didn't know where to go. I started running, but I couldn't see. My lungs were burning and my chest hurt. No matter what, I couldn't get enough breath. I stumbled and fell. I heard voices, shouts around the pack house. Could I go to them? Did I have to run from everyone or just those bad men? I saw a bright light, flames lapping up the night sky, fighting against the rain. I was going the wrong way. That was where the Omegas lived. I was supposed to be leaving. I trip on something and fall to my knees, hitting my head on something sharp as my hands failed to catch me in time. I try to stand up, and when I see what I fell over, I scramble back. My stomach churns. I think I'm going to throw up. I curl into a ball, not looking. If I shut my eyes, maybe it wasn't real. It was all a bad dream. This wasn't real. The smell of blood is everywhere. Was it mine? Was it theirs? I've never been so cold. My insides felt like ice. My body was shivering. Nothing mattered. It didn't matter if I made it to the mountains because my parents couldn't come find me. They were laying right there in pools of their own blood. I was frozen. I couldn't look down. I know what I would see, but I couldn't leave them either. I couldn't leave them. There you are. The scary man's eyes, Alpha Benjamin's eyes, look at me. Every alarm is going off in my body, telling me to run, telling me I had to get away, but I couldn't move. Why couldn't I move? A light flashes across my eyes. We found the girl here. Might have been one of the rogues. I hear a voice in the distance. It sounded like one of our warriors. Was everyone bad? The flashlight dances across the trees behind me. Alpha Benjamin's face turns to panic as he looks down at my parents' bodies. Something hits my head, a dull pain, and I drift in and out of consciousness, barely registering that I'm being carried. Light flashes across my eyes. I wake up on a cold table, someone taking off Mommy's necklace. It will be okay, sweetheart. I'll take care of you, someone says. Is she hurt? A new voice says. Just a scratch, nothing deep. I don't want to be awake. I tried to grasp onto the darkness where I couldn't feel anything. Pain in my chest ripping through me. Searing pain I've never felt anything close to before. Did they put out the fire? Mostly. I think the Omegas will have to stay in the pack house. Rogues did all this? That's what they said, but to bring your child during an attack, a familiar voice mutters. Even for rogues, that is low. Mom, Dad, I call out one last time. I wanted them to hear me. Come for me. I slipped back into unconsciousness, waking up the next morning confused, with a huge hole in my heart. A deep-rooted sadness that I didn't fully understand. I knew I was missing something, someone, but I didn't know what. Until now. Chapter 100A. 14 years ago. Benjamin. Finally, months of planning, and I had the perfect night. Slowly giving poison to the Alpha and Luna so they wouldn't be able to fight as well as they should. Even without the poison, I had 10 men on my side. Men that decided power was more important than loyalty, and I promised them wealth and power beyond anything they would get being Pack Omegas. People were starting to notice that the Alpha and Luna were sick, so now was the right time. I procured the chalice under the guise that I was cleaning it, and I never returned it to the Alpha. I had one shot at this, and it had to work. I'm going out. Don't wait up for me, I say to Juliana. I convinced her to move into one of the pack house rooms and out of the Omega village. She put up a fuss being a Beta's daughter, but she believed that I would give her the power she craved. Her destined mate was an Omega, so of course she promptly rejected him. Even though I was an Omega too, she knew I was ambitious. I didn't tell her the extent of my plan. I couldn't trust anyone that I wasn't going to kill with it. She knew that I was going to become Alpha, and she would be Luna of this pack, so she joined me here and waited. A Beta's daughter was the best I could hope for a strong bloodline. Hopefully my kids will be mated to someone of rank now. That was all that mattered. It wasn't part of the plan to have children until I took over, but we were cursed with 2 children back to back immediately after marking each other. It would complicate things, but they had to be factored in now. I met my men outside the training area at sunset. I hated trusting other people, but I couldn't do this alone. I had 15 men on my side, most from this pack and a few rogues that were going to be crucial to part of the plan. Once chaos ensued, we had a pack of rogues waiting to attack. The warriors would be pulled in so many directions that I could do my part seamlessly. It took almost 3 years of planning, and I could taste the power. You know which 6 of you are with me." I motioned for them to stand away from the others. "Tim and Craig, as soon as you hear my howl, set fire to the Omega Village. Make sure it's big. That is the signal to the rogues to start their attack near the opposite border. We don't want to burn it to the ground, but all the Omegas have to flee to the pack house. Wait until my signal and then join the Omegas. Make sure they are all cleared out." "Yes, Benjamin," they say. "That's Alpha to you." I smile at them, which they return. I loved the sound of that. "You 4. I motioned to the ones that were going to take the Beta and Gamma. "As soon as the Alpha and Luna leave for their nightly bullshit stargazing," my men laugh. "You know what to do. You have enough wolfsbane?" I double check and they nod. "Take their bodies to the Omega Village only once everyone has left the pack house. Make sure you have all 6 of them." The Beta and Gamma both found their mates a while back, but only the Betas had children. Still, 6 bodies were a lot to sneak out of the pack house. I was hoping with the Omega Village on fire and the rogue attack, there would be enough of a distraction to move the bodies. It's not long now. We have to get into position and wait for the right time. Remember, when warriors come, we say it was all rogue attack. I want some bodies mangled beyond recognition. I don't care whose. The Alpha and Luna are to be left by the large boulder at the lake when they are dead. Their daughter doesn't matter, as long as she's dead. I repeated this for what sounded like the 1,000th time, but they needed to hear it again. I needed to be sure they understood. I had already checked in with Valeria, my mate. Finding my mate and having her be a dark witch was perfect. It was almost like the moon goddess smiled down on me. She knew I deserved the pack more than those weak do-gooders. Valeria was ready. As soon as most of the Omegas left the village, she would put out the fire and seal it, starting on her magic. I would deliver the Alpha and Luna, and she would keep some Omegas that didn't make it that far away, and all of my men in a magically enforced cage she had already built in one of the houses no one was using. I snuck her in, and no one noticed anything different because she veiled the cottage with dark magic. She was fucking perfect. We attack and keep the bodies hidden. Mingle some random Omegas or pack members, and then we mingle with the warriors when they inevitably come. I make eye contact with each of them, trying to see if there was any confusion. Does everyone understand? Yes, Alpha, they yell. I couldn't help but smile. I looked up at the sky darkening above the forest. I guess it's showtime. Get in places. I'll meet you there. They nod and head to their hiding places, the 2 going to the Omega Village that was already surrounded with dried grass and kindling. The rain today worried me, but it's nothing that some gasoline couldn't help along. The ones in charge of taking out the Beta and Gamma were the ones I was most worried about. They were both strong fighters, but we had the element of surprise, and they didn't suspect a thing. My stomach clenched. I was both nervous and excited. I've been planning this moment for years, and finally, everything came together. I would be Alpha of one of the oldest and strongest packs. My children would become Alphas and hopefully Lunas of other packs. I wouldn't have to answer to anyone or do a real day's work ever again. Everything would be handed to me just because of some bullshit birthright that others believed in. Fuck the moon goddess for making me an Omega. I was destined for so much more. I would take it. I called Val one last time as I was heading to my position. Hello, my love, she answered. My men are in place, just making sure you're ready. Yes, my love, she says. Will you spend the night with me? I can't tonight. I have to make sure everything on the Alpha floor is settled. I'll come as soon as I can in the morning to check on you. You'll be okay by yourself for the night? She sighs. Yes, I have plenty to do. Wolves to cage, spouse to do, life's to drain. I could hear her smiling over the phone. She was sick, but I needed her more than anyone else. Perfect. Call me if you run into any problems. I won't. She hung up. I loved her confidence. It rubbed off on me. I settled down, waiting for the Alpha and Luna to make their appearance. They were so predictable, so comfortable in their position. It was a mistake I would never make. I didn't even want a Beta or a Gamma, but Juliana convinced me to take a Beta to keep up appearances. I hadn't decided who it would be yet, but it would have to be someone who would impress me, someone that didn't care about titles or actually doing the work. But that was the least of my worries for now. I had to become Alpha first. The waiting was the hard part. They slowly sauntered out and laid down a blanket, and I waited for the perfect moment. There had to be no sign of anyone else. No one could witness what happened that would live to tell the tale. The moment was right, and I motioned for my men to stay behind. I walked up to them, assessing the situation until I knew this was it. Alpha Anthony suspected something, and we had to attack before he could mind link anyone. Now! My men came out and shifted immediately. I let them at it for a while I placed a pouch by the boulder. The Alpha met one of my men in the air and immediately snapping his neck. Fine, one down, but there were more than enough of us to take him and his Luna. Shit, where did the Luna go? She couldn't get far. Do we go after her? One of my men noticed she was missing too. Focus on the Alpha. I took a few steps back. This wasn't my fight. I waited as the Alpha took down 2 more of my men, casualties I could live with, until the rest of my men overpowered him, snapping at his legs and finally closing in on his neck with one last final howl. I shifted and let out a howl to my men, the signal to start the fire before I shifted back. My men dragged the Alpha to the boulder, and I pulled out a small vial from the pouch I left there, using it to collect the Alpha's fresh blood that I needed to complete the transfer of power. Where did they go? Someone shifts back and asks. Find them. Bring them to me. You. I addressed the one that was still in wolf form. Move the dead bodies closer to the edge of the forest, away from here. Mangle them. I want them to look like rogues. He growls in agreement and starts dragging off my dead men. Unfortunate that they had to die like that. Val could have used them. But at least I had some bodies as a distraction. I didn't have to get my hands dirty. I would wait for the men to come back with the Luna. Her child would have slowed her down. Within minutes, my men drag back the Luna, barely breathing. Put her by her mate, I order, and they throw her next to him. Her final breath let out as she knocks into the boulder. Where the hell is the kid? She's what, a toddler? She literally can't walk that far. I yell at them when I see they don't have the kid. Screams arise in the distance, and I can see the beginning of the smoke reach up to the night sky. Soon it would turn into flames. Not even the rain could stop this fire. I knew Val would be there to help if my idiot men proved useless and couldn't get it right. Sure enough, the flames started reaching towards the sky, despite the rain that started to fall. I could hear people in the distance from outside the pack house. A rogue attack! Someone help us! I back away from where I hid the Alpha and Luna and run towards the pack house and yelled, Rogues! There were more screams, but I couldn't tell where they were coming from. Val called me. The village is clear besides some of the Omegas that I kept behind. I'm disposing of the Beta and Gamma and the kids now. Bring the Alpha and Luna. I'm getting everything set up. Perfect. I link some of my men to help me carry the bodies. Warriors, real warriors are running around now. I ran up to one of them and put on a terrified face. Rogues attacked. We fought some of them off, but there has to be more. I saw them running towards the north. How many were there? A warrior asks me, a few circling around behind him. I don't know. Maybe 5, maybe 10. It all happened so fast. I played the hopeless Omega for the last time. They took off to the north, towards where the real rogues were. That would buy me a few more minutes. Heading back to where I hid the bodies, I see a small girl curled up by them. Was this their kid? It was hard to tell in the dark. She was bloody and covered in dirt. It had to be her. I peer down and look in her wide, scared doe eyes. There you are. I smile. Everything was coming into place. We got the kid outside the pack house. Little ginger fucker, right? One of my men links. Yeah, that's her. We took care of her. Then who was this one? Probably some random Omega. I could get rid of her too, just to be sure. We're taking her body to be disposed of. Perfect. A bright light comes behind me and illuminates the trees behind the child. Shit, more warriors. There's a kid here, one of them yells. Hopefully they didn't notice the bodies next to her. I start to panic. As soon as the flashlight moves from her face, I pick up a rock and hit her in the head with it. She slumps over almost immediately. That should do it. Might have killed her anyway. I pick her up, quickly taking her away from the bodies. No one could come close to them. It would ruin everything. She was cowering in the woods. I think she was one of the rogues. She doesn't belong to the pack. I lie. She looked dead anyways. I rush out and hand her to one of the warriors, leading them away from the bodies. She looks rough. I don't know if she will make it, the man carrying her says after checking her pulse. I fight a smile. Make sure she's safe. I'm going to see if there is anyone else out there. Thank you for your help, the warrior says, not turning back to me. My men are waiting for me, hovering over the bodies, protecting them from view. Let's move them now, I commanded. One shifted back into human form, and we put the bodies on two of the wolves' backs. Careful now. As fast as you can with them still on you. You need to make it to the Omega village now. We're already running out of time. I smell the smoke before I see it billowing over the village. I motion for my men to pause at the tree line before I look around to make sure it was completely empty. Val walks out of the cottage as soon as she hears me. Her long purple dress soaked, hugging her curves perfectly. Her pale skin reflected the moonlight. My alpha, she purrs. I've been waiting for you. She looks around. Where are they? I motioned for my men to come out. She claps her hands. Perfect. Help me bring them in. 2 vats of something that smelled horrible were hidden in a large cottage that was completely empty except for a table and some kind of contraption. Wait outside, I tell my men. I sling the Luna and Alpha one by one over my shoulder into the cottage. She helps me lower each of them into their new homes before chanting something and sealing the tops. The liquid starts to shimmer and move around them. They float unmoving, unchanging besides the liquid rustling their hair. That shit was creepy. She uses some kind of magic spell to lift them up into place, attached to the wall. A loud hammering sound pierces the otherwise quiet night as the vats shift into place. Beautiful, she smiles. Now what? I ask. Now we need someone to start the process, preferably a young life. I already have one saved. Her face was overcome with joy. I can't wait. Where do you want me to put the warriors? I whispered. I'll show you once they're accounted for. I'll need help attaching one, and then I can put up the protective barriers and build a physical wall. You'll need to get back to the pack house and start playing Alpha immediately. I nodded. The hard part was over. I link the rest of my men to come meet me. I wait for a long 10 minutes, every second, and they were taking their damn time. Once all the ones that were alive were accounted for, Val comes to stand by my side. Hello, dogs. She grins and some of them growl at her. I give her a look which she ignores. Can you help me with something simple, and then I think we can be on our way? They look between each other. They didn't know anything about Val before. I wasn't stupid enough to tell anyone the entire plan. She motions to a cottage, and I follow her. Last part of the plan, I say. Then we can go and take our spoils. I smile widely at them and they relax, content in the fact that this was over and we pulled it off. After you, gentlemen. I hold the door wide. As soon as they were all in, Val slams the door behind them and claps once, loudly. The cottage shimmers and then falls away, leaving a large covered cage in its place. Besides what was left of my warriors, there were about 10 or more Omegas there that didn't escape fast enough. I was impressed. My men look around confused at the sudden change of scenery. Once it dawns on them what happened, they were all screaming and shaking the bars. "What the fuck is your problem? You wouldn't have gotten here without us. When we get out, you're dead, you pathetic piece of shit. Dead, do you hear me?" Val claps her hands and squeals. "This is going to be fun." She clings to my arm. "This should keep us going for years." She smiles. "See, I even gave them some. I didn't want them to get all soggy." I walk over to the cage, close enough so they could hear me through the downpour, but not close enough that any could attempt to grab me. "You think I would trust anyone that would turn on their alpha?" I laugh. "No, you bastards. Turn on one alpha. Who says you won't turn on another?" No time for long speeches. We had a few more things to do. Come, we don't have much time. We're already behind." I didn't like the sound of that. She walks towards the back of one hut, and there is a young man chained up, bleeding but still struggling against the chains. "Kinky, right?" She looks at me. I help her carry the semi-conscious man inside the hut with the Alpha and Luna. She strapped him to the table and did some voodoo shit, and all of a sudden the tank started glowing faintly. The man was groaning. It seemed like he was trying to talk, but nothing coherent was coming out. "Okay." Val wipes her hands on her dress. "Your work here is done. I put up an illusion so that anyone who comes near here still sees flames. I'll start on the wall tonight." She pulls me in for a passionate kiss. I feel sparks course through my body unlike anything I've felt with anyone before, even after marking Juliana. Chapter 100B, 14 years ago. "Take this and make sure your fake mate," she spits the words, "and your little children things all take a sip. It will make people not able to recognize you. When they look at your face, they will immediately forget that they've known you. So I can establish myself as Alpha." A wide grin spreads across my face. "Exactly. You might need to take it every month for a while, but it's a simple potion and I have the ingredients." "You are perfect." I smile at her. "Everyone should start to forget the Alpha and Luna now. They won't remember them, their reign, or that they had a kid or beta or gamma. As much as I hate that you have to leave, you must." She pushes me out the door. I ran back to the pack house. There were so many people outside, muttering to each other, confused looks across their faces. "Where is the Alpha?" I hear one ask. "We can't find any ranked members," one replies. "Come on, Val, how long would this take?" I run to the room that I share with Juliana in the attic. She has the kids in our room, sleeping on our bed. She was still awake, sitting, staring at the door. "Who asked you to wait up?" I ask her. "You look horrible," she said, appraising me. I realized I was naked, covered in dirt and blood, wet from the rain. I ignore her and take the chalice from its hiding place behind a loose board in the wall. I shake as I place my palm face up over it. The moment of truth. I slit my palm with a knife. I couldn't find the one that they normally used, but I hoped it was the blood that mattered and not the knife. I probably cut my palm deeper than I should have, but I had to be sure. Juliana sits on the bed, her arms wrapped around her knees, eyeing me nervously, not saying anything. I take the vial of blood out of a pouch around my neck and dump it into my hand, letting it sit there mixing with my blood for a few moments before I make a fist, letting drops of blood fall into the chalice until there was no more left to fall. I felt something, a bit of warmth. There seemed to be some wind that picked up inside even though our small window wasn't open. I open my eyes, nervous. "Did it work?" Juliana asks. I shake my head. I honestly have no idea. I wrap my hand with a bit of cloth from an old shirt and get dressed. I grabbed my few possessions, throwing them into a bag. "Where are your things?" I ask her. She points to a suitcase by the door. "A suitcase? I don't want to draw attention to ourselves, looking like we're moving into the Alpha floor." I roar at her. She flinches. "I didn't have anything else to pack it in," she retorts. "You made me live like a fucking Omega since we got here, and I had to give up all my nice clothes. I'm sick of it." I roll my eyes. "Not tonight, Juliana. Can you just shut up and trust me?" She glares at me, but doesn't say a word. I open her suitcase and throw the contents into the top of my bag and another plastic bag that was in our closet. "Here." I throw it at her and she scowls. "Grab Haley. I'll take Seth. Let's go." We take a sip of the potion and I pour some in Haley and Seth's mouths before leaving our small room. The pack house was buzzing with activity and no one noticed us. There was a steady stream of Omegas coming into the pack house kitchen. "Our home's gone," one wails. "I can't find my mate. My mate! Aiden, where is he? Has anyone seen him?" More sobs and cries and indecipherable noises come from the group. "It's okay," the lead Omega addresses the group as we're leaving. "There is enough room in the pack house for everyone to stay in until we can rebuild. We are going to have to share. It might be a tight fit, but it will only be temporary." We sneak up into the dark foyer. It didn't seem anyone was around. I grab Juliana's hand and bump into an Omega carrying blankets. She knocks them down. Sorry, she mutters, staring at us confused. "Pick them up," I roar a command. I wanted to test it out. Yes, she says, and immediately drops to her knees. I guess the Alpha thing did work. That's yes, Alpha to you. She doesn't meet my eyes. Yes, Alpha. A surge of pride washes over me. Juliana grabs my arm and looks up at me with admiration. I was the Alpha of Silver Moon. Finally. We take the elevator to the Alpha floor, and I lead her into the Alpha and Luna's room. We would have to get rid of their stuff as soon as possible. Nothing that could link back to them could be found. Juliana looks around, appraising the room. Good size, great view, but this furniture will need to be changed. Anything for you, my Luna. She smiles up at me seductively. I had some things to take care of, but making love to my new Luna was on top of that list. I leave her sleeping in our new room after we mated. Haley and Seth were put in the guest rooms across the hall. I go back down to join the crowd as Alpha this time. There were only a few stragglers left. I make my way to the lead Omega, who is looking vacant. I'm not sure if she's stressed or it has to do with her memories, but she doesn't even notice me standing next to her. I clear my throat and she jumps. Yes, what can I do for you? I wanted to get a report of the Omegas and where they are staying. She nods and looks at my face, scrunching her eyebrows. Is there something wrong? I ask her, anger lacing my voice. No, I just don't understand. As your Alpha, I speak the words slowly, mustering as much power as I could. I am asking you for a report of the Omega's temporary living arrangements. Realization dawns on her face, but it's still mixed with apprehension. Yes, of course, Alpha. Alpha Benjamin. She nods. I head to the back and link the head warrior to come meet me. What's the damage? I say to him. You're not my warrior. He looks me over. He's almost double my size. I'm not your warrior, no. I am your alpha. He takes a step back. Did you hit your head? Do I need to appoint another lead warrior? I say in my alpha voice, booming over him. No, sorry, Alpha. I guess I didn't recognize you in the, rain. Don't let it happen again. He shakes his head and looks back at me, shaking it again. No, sir, it won't. I want the rogues dealt with tonight. A full report on any casualties on my desk tomorrow. Yes, Alpha, he says. I smile as I head back inside. Whenever I saw a pack member, I made sure to use my alpha voice and tell them my name. By the next morning, most of the pack would know who I was. Their alpha. I went back to the alpha's floor, my floor, and locked the previous alpha kid's room, something to take care of later. Finally, I went into my new office. I poured myself a drink and sat back, reveling in my accomplishments. I woke up as an Omega, and I'm going to sleep as an Alpha.